What's up, everyone, and welcome to the 37th issue of Why I'm 100% Joe Wud Up Comics, where each and every week we get together to talk all things comics. From old to new, fan theories to what ifs, we've got you covered. I'm Cameron James, and filling in today for the Golden Voice is none other than Electric Comics' own Kyle Colleen.
Hey, how's it going?
You're like super face of the show now. You've been here like back-to-back weeks, so it's like the fuck.
I'm honored. I'm so happy to be here. I'm having a great time.
The craziest thing about my friendship with you is I've never actually met you.
Yeah, well, we're in the day of virtual relationships at this point.
I know. I was talking to Matt about that. I was like, dude, we met Kyle on the show 3 times now, and we actually never made contact. And you live like right by one of my stores, which is oddly enough, I think.
Yeah, the Middletown Highway 35.
Yeah.
I go over there all the time.
Yeah,
just because that shopping center's got so much.
But they're moving the fucking what's it called though? The ShopRite.
I heard.
Literally, like right across the street.
So where the old Sears was, I think.
Yeah, fuck Sears.
Either way, fuck all that. There's so many shopping centers over there that are like just empty ghost town shopping centers.
Have you been down to Lavodi's?
Yes.
Place is cool.
It's expensive. I like Lavodi's.
It's expensive as shit, but it's a cool place. They have that bar there, Wahoo's, something like that.
Is that the fish taco place?
Yeah. It's cool. The only thing I don't like about it is you go order your food, sit down, they have to walk up to the bar. So
sure, I can see that.
It's a little kind of funky for me. It's apparently there's a surf taco in, I think it's Jackson that does the same exact thing, but I don't know. I've never been to it.
Give me the number and just bring the tacos over. You know?
Yeah, wish you could it would make more sense if you can order like your beer from the woman at the front, but I guess they just want you to do it separately for whatever reason. It's something I've never heard of. But I do notice for the first time I see your drawing desk.
Yes, that's the setup over there.
Nice.
It's humble but effective.
Right on. And I see you have what's behind your right shoulder? It looks like you have the other right shoulder. My right to you. Is that an anime box on the ground?
Oh, that is that's the manga box set of Akira.
Oh, right on. I didn't even know they did that.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite comics. The comic is way bigger than the actual anime. There's a lot more going on. Like there's a whole post-apocalyptic aspect. And the United Nations comes in with the military to try to take out Tetsuo. If you're a fan of the anime, you know he's basically becomes the bad guy.
You read manga backwards, right?
Yeah, it's
you open it left.
It's right to left.
Okay, but so is the first page on the right hand side then instead of the left?
Yes.
Huh. Interesting.
And then you also read the panels that way.
So you start on the top right corner. It's like backwards, or do you stop in the? So right page top right, or is it right page top left?
Hey, let me grab a book here.
Yeah, because now I'm confused.
Same.
Because Matt's big into the. Oh damn, that's like a fucking Bible right there.
Yeah, the whole series is over. It's a couple thousand pages. So here's the spine, and then here's the front opening. So you'd be reading it this way.
So to read the first, it's in black and white. So the first panel, the top right is the first panel.
Here.
Oh, then you switch to left.
Right. So you go to this page, then to this page.
Oh, that would give me a nightmare. To everybody listening that cannot watch this, we are learning how to read a manga book, and it is not easy.
It becomes second nature. Sometimes when I'm reading Western comics, I'll slip into reading Eastern manga. And I'll get confused with the page order just because I just read a bunch of Astro Boy or some shit. So reading Spider-Man gets confusing.
Is any of manga in color, or is it always in black and white?
Some of it is in color. Do you know Studio Ghibli?
Mm-mm.
They did My Neighbor Totoro and Spirited Away and a lot of big anime projects. But Miyazaki, he's kind of the genius behind Ghibli. He does entirely illustrated watercolor manga. Like everything is painted. Every panel is painted, and they're absolutely beautiful.
That's cool.
But a lot of it is black and white, and the reason for that is they put it out so fast.
Oh, really? There's actually a reason why it's in black and white.
Yes, because it's designed. Same thing with the animation. It's designed to be less expensive, able to reproduce very quickly, and able to publish as fast as possible.
I mean, I haven't watched the last anime I watched was Castlevania on Netflix, and
that is great design. I love the way that one looks.
Well, I was saying you can argue, is it true anime or is it not? Some people say if it might look like anime, but if it's not made in Japan, then it's not truly anime. You know, it's just bullshit. It's a westernized cartoon that looks like anime, whatever. Mm-hmm. Well, isn't Dragon Ball Z made in America?
I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know. That would be interesting to find out.
Because that, and I know that other big time anime is the hell is it called? My Hero
Academia.
Yeah, that and One Punch Man. Is that another one?
One Punch Man. Yeah, that's a good one.
I know those are like the top, probably the big three that I always hear about is My Hero Academia, One Punch Man, and Dragon Ball.
Here's what the internet has to say. Technically, no. Anime is considered to be animation created in Japan, so by definition, it is pretty much impossible for there to be an American-made anime. However, there are shows that exhibit qualities that come from anime, but are made in America.
So it's like whiskey and bourbon.
Exactly, and scotch.
Yeah. It's the same exact damn thing, but one's made in Ireland, one made in America, the other one's made in...
And the same thing with comics, you know? I mean, it's just... Manga is just the word for comics, you know?
Oh, is it really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's just a Japanese word for comics.
Oh, fuck. You learn something new every day.
Oh, yeah.
Again, it's something like... I'll go to the manga section at Barnes & Noble every now and then and, like, look at it, but then I'm just like, I really want to read this shit. I respect people that read it. It's not for me. I right now, if I'm reading anything, it's going to be, what the hell was it? I was just reading,
The Heads in Duffel Bags.
Yeah. I read that,
Finished that one?
Yeah, it was fucking great.
Nice.
The only thing about it that I did not like is I thought the ending was a bit of a cop out. I'm not going to spoil it, but it was really good. And it was a super fun book. But then, like, something happens and you're just like, would she really do that? And is she really that butthurt about it? Like, what the fuck? But I could see it being made into a movie,
okay,
not a TV show. And, it's actually something that we can actually talk about is to me, it's you. With books coming out, obviously, in comic books, and same with regular books, a lot of these people try to turn them into fucking TV shows, and it's like, TV shows. Like, yo, this book is not designed to be a TV show. It's designed to be a fucking movie. Unless you're like Stephen King and you make 4,000-page books,
right, some epically long thing. Most of them you could, if you stuck to what the source material was. Like even a Court of Owls thing, you could probably do a Court of Owls movie, get almost everything in, not have to cut that much, and just, I don't know, keep it moving. Well, instead of making it like a 6-hour miniseries or something like that.
Right. Did you see The Killing Joke?
Yes.
You know, they added the first 30 minutes of that. They added the Barbara Gordon story.
What the hell?
Exactly. And I actually,
why the hell are you doing that?
And that's the thing. It's like, and I read the book side by side with the movie playing, and they do almost nail the dot. It's almost bubble for bubble, which is something you don't see often. normally someone wants to put their 2 cents in, but they do a really good job with that book, almost keeping it identical. But the beginning of that, and maybe they did it because they're like, fuck, if we don't add this first 20 minutes, this movie's only an hour.
Right. I mean, so give me more of Batman beating somebody up, or give me more of the Joker's backstory or jokes or whatever.
Yeah. And it's one of those things too, where they just did, Stephen King, one of his books was just on HBO.
Stand.
Is the Stand's the one with the apocalypse thing?
Yes, where it's got like a global pandemic where everybody's sick and there's kind of like a.
No, that's coming out as a TV show too, but I think that's on CBS. This was out something or other. It was with freaking, what the hell is his name? Jason Bateman.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember the name.
The book is called hold on, this is gonna drive me nuts. But they made it into a TV show, and I guess Sean was like, my buddy Sean, the Outsider. He was like, believe it or not, it was actually only it was 10 episodes. With 10 episodes, he's like, they definitely changed the story around. And it's like, why? Like, stick to the source material. And I always harp about this. I don't understand why people add more content. Like, I just feel if the writer wanted there to be more content, he would have added more content. And I get it that writing back in like the 80s and the 90s and even the 70s doesn't necessarily gel well. Right.
Like, you'll have to update the dialogue, but most of the situations are kind of crucial to what's happening in the plot. If you add anything, then it's just extra baggage. Yeah, I think for the most part they do a pretty good job keeping it true to form, but I've seen some pretty botched, TV or book to TV shit before, and it always bums me out. But we're going to keep this TV talk going. But before we do that, once again, this is Why Am I Nerd presents Wud Up Comics. You can follow us on Instagram at Why Am I Nerd Official, Facebook.com/Why Am I Nerd, and listen to issues every Tuesday on YouTube and your favorite podcast service. Don't forget, every Monday you can listen to Jason, Justin, and Just Matt and myself talk about all things video games. And last but not least, you have the 4th and 1, which they put out their show sometime between Wednesday and Friday. So that's all I got. But staying with the TV talk that's actually just broke 40 minutes ago is that Disney Plus is doing a Wakanda spinoff TV show by Ryan Coogler, who is the director of Black Panther and Black Panther 2, is developing a Wakanda-focused streaming series for Disney Plus as a part of a new 5-year deal. I don't understand this because this reminds me a lot of HBO doing that Gotham City show, and even what Fox did with Gotham. I mean, I don't know if this is just a ploy to try to keep the Black Panther relevant, but it seems a little unnecessary. I don't know what your take is on this, but I personally, to begin with, was not a big Black Panther fan. I kind of felt like it was more of a what's the word, like nostalgia cultural thing than it was necessarily a getting into the superhero universe.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of, it was like Wonder Woman. I felt like the two of them had the same kind of hype behind them, and then seeing this come out, like, who wants to watch a show based on just Wakanda?
Right. What's going to be the meat and bones of this show? What's going to happen episode to episode, and what characters are they even really going to bring in if they're not going to use Black Panther? Who else from Wakanda is so crucial? I mean, obviously Shuri is awesome, and
yeah, I mean,
is that an entire show? Is that an entire series? I don't think so.
I guess my thing is, did they? Because they're saying that in Black Panther 2, T'Challa will not be utilized in any sort of CGI form. So I don't know if their goal is to. I mean, I guess you have to assume that this would have to be released after Black Panther 2, because, again, you're going to have to establish the new character unless they think that Shuri is already established enough, which I personally don't think so.
I think we need to see her take on the helm on the big screen before it can move on to the silver screen and be effective.
I mean, you're pretty convinced, I'm assuming, that she will be the next Black Panther.
I am. I don't think they're going to find another actor to replace to replace Chadwick Boseman and have another T'Challa. I'd be very surprised if they do. Oh, but who knows? Chris Evans is back.
Yeah,
I'm just throwing a dig, you know.
That's all I got to say about that. I don't even understand that one. I mean, I guess that means they would essentially make this an entire female lead TV show. You have to assume, because who else was really in it? You had Shuri, you had the girl that played Michonne in The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
and then
Oyoke, or I think I can't.
And she was dating the one dude that turned.
Yes.
Does he die? I don't remember if he dies in that movie, or if he just.
I don't think he died.
He
eventually joins back up with the Wakandans.
I mean, what could be interesting, which I think this would be a huge slap in the face, is if they decide to, because there has been obviously rumors every now and then that Michael B. Jordan's character Killmonger would possibly take over the role of Black Panther, which again, people have super mixed feelings about that. Would be interesting if this was how they introduced him as the Black Panther, because you figure to build a character up like that, to make him likable, you're going to have to give him some time. You can't just put him out in a movie and hope to God that people are like, fuck yeah, this guy's the man now.
They did work on his backstory a lot to get you sympathetic with him.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately,
but then they'd have to redo it again, I guess. But I mean, yeah, but his backstory was kind of, it was just like generic
tragedy.
Yeah, like his dad gets killed by his uncle. It was his uncle, right? And then, you know, he ends up losing the crown. He's all like butthurt that he could have gotten the fucking, you know, the reins, but he didn't. So I mean, to me, it was generic. And obviously at the end of it, you're not pulling for him. He does kind of have like not like an opposite mentality before he quote quote dies. So he's like, yo, please don't send me off on this way. At least give me like a proper death or whatever. And obviously Matt seems to think that he doesn't die. He gives him the orb thing.
Right.
So
I'd like to see more of M'Baku. I thought M'Baku was cool. I thought M'Baku's tribe was super cool.
Oh, that would
yeah. I hope that if maybe that's what the main drama is, Wakanda versus the old kind of atavistic primal history with M'Baku.
That would be a really cool idea, actually. Because his tribe was much more like less.
They're not advanced, but they're you know, they're noble, they're warriors, they're tough. They saved T'Challa's ass ultimately.
Yeah. I think that would be actually really, really, you know, genius and brilliant. Unless they do the other
Kugler, if you're listening.
Yeah, there you go. Unless they do something else and they do the like creation of Wakanda and like the Black Panther civilization.
That's true. The prequel, they could always go back in time.
Yeah, because I don't know much about Black Panther, so I really can't say much about how they get all that, like what is it called?
Vibranium. Well, I think it's primarily just the luck of the draw that a meteorite made of vibranium lands there, and it ends up being a giant, you know, deposit of vibranium.
Really? It's just like they literally just got lucky on it?
Yeah, I think as far as the story goes, it's really like I don't know if King Solomon's Mines is part of it, but they end up just excavating hella vibranium.
Huh. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, that could be something to start with. I don't know. I mean, it's all up for speculation at this point, obviously. Who the fuck really knows? But hopefully they do something with good with it. I have not been watching WandaVision. I unfortunately don't really have much interest in it. I've heard super mixed things about it. I've heard it's great, and I've heard it's confusing as fuck. I kind of guessed it was just gonna be like House of M, and I was told that it is pretty much just like House of M. So have you watched it at all or no?
I haven't watched it. I loved the Tom King series. I'm a big fan of Tom King. I mean, everything he touches is just excellent. He did a great job with Batman, great job with Mr. Miracle. Um, but if they're mixing it with House of M, I don't know how I feel about that.
You don't like House of M?
House of M is cool, but the story that I guess in my head I assumed that they were going to go with the Tom King story for the Wanda and the Vision,
which was what? I don't know.
It's kind of like I mean, I don't want to let any spoilers loose in case they are using stuff, but it was kind of like a Leave It to Beaver, Pleasantville world created to keep Wanda and Vision from losing their shit and wreaking havoc because they are so just powerful. They're Omega. Wanda's an Omega level mutant. Mm-hmm. Vision is also basically an untamable force of nature. When he gets angry, it's like, what can you do? The dude will phase through the Hulk. It's like,
yeah, isn't Vision technically a robot?
He is, yes, but I think that there's something in there about his, like the Terminator. He learns, he develops, he's constantly evolving.
Yeah, because when I was reading something before that they wanted to put a penis on him in the movies, and I was like, why? It's so unnecessary. He's a fucking robot.
I think he can change his appearance. Like there are times where he appears and he's in a business suit or whatever. Mm. It's like if he wants to change his molecular structure, he'll do it. If he wants a penis, it's almost like Dr. Manhattan, right?
Yeah, true. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's what I was talking about. I was like, how the fuck does this guy fuck if he's a robot? Like, what the hell? Something ain't right here. But speaking of shit that ain't right either, is the Zack Snyder Cut movie finally gets a fucking release date. And I was really surprised that this was coming out as soon as it is. I know originally there was a lot of talk that it wasn't coming out until September, but they're actually releasing it on HBO Max on what is it, March 18th. Again, the thing about this movie that I don't understand, I think we've briefly touched it before, is the movie was already fucking 2 hours and 45 minutes. So
too long.
Where are they getting an hour and 15 minutes more worth of content?
Well, when Snyder, at a certain point, Snyder was done with it and Joss Whedon picked it up and kind of took over. So I'm assuming that there was just so much footage, and a lot of what we see from the final versions is contributed by Joss Whedon, and that there's all this stuff from Zack Snyder's end that didn't make it into the final cut.
You think so?
I mean, that's my best guess, because it's kind of a crowded field there with who's contributing what part of the movie ultimately.
Because I thought Snyder backed out of that movie super early, but I mean, I guess
the film's supposed to be over 4 hours.
That's insane.
Yeah,
that's fucking ridiculous. I mean, I've watched The Godfather Epic. I said that before in full, which was 7 hours long. But the problem is
that's got a lot going on compared to the Justice League. I mean,
well, and the thing is, The Godfather is actually a good movie. This movie sucked.
Yes, and now you're just making something that sucked twice as long. Can you fix it by just adding more?
I don't think so, because then you had that whole bullshit with the guy that played Cyborg, where he said like it was like a really bad environment and that he would never like go back to, I guess, I don't know if he doesn't want to ever film with Snyder again or how that whole thing played out, but I know he was supposed to be in Teen Titans season 3, I think, and I think they wrote him out because he was like, fuck you.
Yeah, there's some bad blood there for sure.
Which I don't understand why. I mean,
I haven't heard any details. I just know that he didn't, like you said, he didn't like the environment. Maybe it was whatever the culture was behind the camera, but he didn't like it.
I mean, I know that his character, what's it called? Origin story in the movie was way different than the book, I think.
Yeah, although, I don't know that much about Cyborg. I really only know that what they did for him in the New 52.
Don't they build him?
Yeah, his dad was trying to save his life and built the thing. And built the whole cyborg suit, and I think his dad dies before he completes it. And I don't know. The New 52 for me was so long ago at this point.
Yeah, I
So
just
much has been rebooted and happened.
I know. I mean, I've only know his origin story from like watching the DC animated movies and getting a glimpse of it from there. So I can't really speak too much about him. But I mean, for me, with the Snyder Cut, obviously, I don't like Zack Snyder at all as a director. He's too stylized for me. But I also don't like any of the DC extended universe movies because they're all stylized. They all just have that typical, like, when the 300 first came out.
Yes.
You know, whatever, 15 years ago, it was like, holy shit. You know, now it's just like, I just feel like that's plastered all over those movies.
It's like an Instagram filter now. That's the DC.
Yeah. And it doesn't.
Superhero Instagram filter.
And it's weird because you can legitimately tell the difference between if someone did not know anything about comic books or comic book movies or Marvel or and DC, and you showed them a Marvel movie and a DC movie, you could probably be like, okay, this is not, you know, these aren't the same developer. You can easily tell because they don't even look the same.
Stylistically, they're completely different sides of. I think it's got possibly the Disney philosophy, even though it didn't start with that. But the Marvel movies are always trying to be a little bit brighter, a little bit funnier, even though the world is in chaos and is on the brink of destruction. They're still happy-go-lucky, hopeful. You know.
Where do you think that started?
Where do I think that started? Well, you know, how Marvel even started with the movies was they banked everything on Iron Man and banked it on, I'm blanking on his name. Famous actor who plays.
Oh, Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah, Downey Jr. They were basically banking everything on Downey Jr. and his portrayal of Stark. And you know, if that movie went under, Marvel probably would have gone under because they put all their eggs in one basket with Iron Man.
So, because there was the rumor for a long time that it was going to be Tom Cruise. Do you think it would have worked if Tom Cruise played him?
No, and it would have sunk them eventually because Tom Cruise imploded pretty soon after that. It was only a few years after Iron Man when Tom Cruise exploded at Oprah, I think.
Oh yeah, when he jumped on the freaking couch.
He had his downward spiral after that.
Yeah, they also took a pretty big gamble picking Iron Man when he wasn't really a character that was very well known. I mean, people knew him.
They couldn't do Spider-Man. They couldn't do any mutants because they had given those away or sold those off at the time.
That still made no sense to me.
Comic books, you know, historically have a big roller coaster wave of making money or being broke. So if somebody wants to pay Marvel at the time a bunch of money to use a Spider-Man in a movie, I'm sure they're going to take it because the books probably aren't making crazy amount of money.
And that too blows my mind because I think we've talked about this before. You know, I guess it's kind of weird. This is what I don't understand. So comic books come out every 2 weeks, give or take, you know, and they say that a comic book is normally finished 3 months in advance to the release. I think it's what they say for like a full comic, like, you know, Batman comic, whatever. But there's only one writer and one artist. I mean, right. I guess you say that there's the letterer, the you know, the colorer and whatnot. But so it says 4 people work on a book. How the fuck are they producing these books so quick?
I mean, you've got to be doing finishing probably 3 or 4 pages a week, if not more, to get those books done.
Well, was the average comic book is what, 32
pages, but you know, they give or take because there's advertisements and things like that in there.
So you think, I mean, and I guess the other thing too is like when you're the writer, it's like, okay, write it all out. Okay, now you just hand it off to somebody else. Now, if I wrote it, I'd just like, all right, here, Kyle, and then it's all on you. And then you're like,
right.
Okay,
the writer probably goes and writes some other thing after that, and now it's the artist's problem.
Yeah. Know? So they're probably constantly moving, but it just seems to me that a comic book should be so much more profitable than what they are. I genuinely don't understand how comic books are not making money. You go to fucking dick ass Barnes and Noble and you spend $30 on a fucking trade paperback. It's ridiculous.
I think the trade paperbacks are making more money, but
really,
yeah. What the store that I worked at in Seattle, Golden Age Collectibles, every year when we did our inventory, the thing that made the most money was trade paperbacks and graphic novels. You know, same thing. But single issue comics, all the content, all the material that ends up in the trade paperback comes out in the single issues. But
okay,
less people are buying single issues than are buying the trade paperbacks.
But this is the crazy part to me now is that some comic books like the Future State Batman, the next Batman, I think was $7.99 an issue. So it's like, wait a minute. You figure that they're going to do 4 of those. They're going to probably put in a trade paperback, and you can either buy the 4 comics, which will end up costing you $32, or the trade paperback, which will probably end up costing you $20. So I guess they're banking that, okay, we've made the money back on the actual single issues, and then anything that we get from the trade paperback is just additional income.
Yeah, it's just gravy at that point. And they're also banking on the groups of people who don't have the patience to wait for the trade paperback. They want to read the story. People like you and Matt who are putting out content like this, you guys are staying up to date and reading it. And there's a lot of people who do that.
I mean, I buy both.
Yeah, I used to buy both too. You know, right now I'm only buying a few things here and there just because I need to keep the collection a little bit small. Mm-hmm. Who knows when I'll be moving again? But
right.
A lot of people do buy both. But do you want to wait 6 or 7 months for the entire story arc to finish so that you can get the trade paperback? You want to know right now most of the time.
Yeah, especially because you have a spoiler out there, and then it's like, oh,
exactly,
so and so showed up, and this and another thing.
The internet's a minefield with spoilers. It's like
it is. It sucks, and the problem too with all these things. This actually flows perfectly into our next segment here. Is that like following along with a comic book is not easy.
No, definitely not.
You know, like following along, especially 2 weeks. I don't care what anyone fucking says. 2 weeks is a long time to remember, you know, what the fuck is going on. And I get it that Marvel does it pretty well when they put like a little brief, like, hey, this is what just happened in the last issue. But it's still not easy to be like, wait, what happened again? Like, okay, fine. I almost wish that, if you remember, like back when we were kids watching a cartoon, they would always show you, like, you know what I mean? Like
the recap.
Yeah. And it's like how comic books can easily do that in a some sort of way, and they just choose not to. And it's really difficult to read a lot. And that's why if you're not like a seasoned comic book reader, and if I'm talking about it, I'm like, look, man, if you really want to read this, don't, like, just fucking wait for the trade paperback, because, you know, like the Rolling Heads, what was it called? A Basket Full of Heads. If I had read that, I'm actually going to contradict myself here. If I read that, like, as it came out, it would have made sense, because it picked up literally like this page ended, and then the first page of the next issue was exactly where that page ended. But I feel like a lot of times it's not how it is with comics. It's like, hey, this ends, and now they're going to throw you into some other scenario.
100%. You're in a completely different place. Yep. With a whole new group of people. Sometimes I feel like I miss an issue and I'm like, wait, what the hell?
Yeah. And 90s,
really connecting to the last issue?
And 90s cartoons did a shitty job with that too. They would be like, hey, here's, X-Men Dark Phoenix Saga Part 1. And then they show you it. And then it's just like not existent for like 10 episodes.
Now you're in the Savage Land.
Yeah. And then you're like, wait, what? And then there's like Dark Phoenix Part 2 is like 10 episodes later. And I remember that. The Savage Land episode. That's when Xavier gets his legs back, right?
Yeah, because something about being in the Savage Land environment, he can walk.
And I remember watching that series, and I was like, did I miss something? Did this show like reorganize itself, and I didn't know it? Because it was fuck.
It was definitely confusing as fuck. That was based off the Chris Claremont years. So I think, you know, Chris Claremont, when he was writing X-Men, kind of just did whatever he wanted.
He didn't do Dark Phoenix, did he?
I don't know. Let me look that up. He might have done Dark Phoenix. He did a massive chunk of X-Men, some of the most popular 80s, 90s X-Men.
Yeah, I know that. But going back to the topic of making comics easier to follow, I mean, especially you being a comic writer yourself, how do you think they can fix the organization and the simplicity of making it easier to read comics?
I think that they need to stop rebooting things and just suck it up and deal with it. Maybe they let some details slide, but don't just completely recreate a universe. I've had so many people come to me at the comic book store and have no idea what even trade paperback to pick up because they're like, well, this is New 52, but I really like The Dark Knight Rises. I mean, the Frank Miller Dark Knight series, Dark Knight Strikes Back or Dark Knight Strikes Again. So should I read New 52 or should I read, the Batmans that are collected from the 80s? Or people have no idea where to start if they haven't been reading comics for years already. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think a lot of people like Image or Boom, who publish things that are either smaller, that are a finite series that begin and end, that somebody could just be like, okay, now I've got 6 books. This is the whole series. I've read it. I move on. I read something else. It's easier for them. Manga does that. Most manga has a place where it ends, and then that writer or artist just moves on to another project, and people keep reading their stuff, but they don't have to do all the legwork. Like, especially with DC and Marvel, you have to do so much legwork to keep up with whatever the new saga is. If you want to read a Grant Morrison DC comic, you've got to get on a Wikipedia and read a shit ton of information just so that you can follow what's going on in this Grant Morrison, Superman comic.
So do you think it would be easier if they made comic books based on, like, what's the word? Like, if the comic book was more defined based on the writer, like a story arc being a little bit more like
TV shows or movies do it, I think, really well. They have, here's the specific part, like whether it's Seinfeld or Firefly, here's the part where we're dealing with this. We're going to deal with this for 3 or 4 episodes. Then we move on. You could really pick up anywhere along the story arc. Mm-hmm. And, but you don't need to read 40 years of comics to figure it out.
It would be interesting if they did it, if they were like, hey, the next, the Batman Rebirth, here's the Grant Morrison saga, here's the Brian K. Vaughan saga. And then it's like, okay, let's say you give them all a starting point. And let's say you're like, hey, Brian K. Vaughan is doing this way and Grant Morrison's doing that way. I'm not connecting with, Grant Morrison's version. But if I know, hey, Brian K. Vaughan's going to put out 32 issues of his own story, and this is it. This is my window. All I got to do is read this. I don't even have to fucking worry about that. Would that make it easier, or would it make it more confusing?
I think it would make it 100% easier. I think that's why things like Hush are so popular, because you don't need to read any other Batman thing. You could just, if you've never read a comic before, if you've never read Batman before, you can pick up Hush. You can read it. You can enjoy it. You can feel like you've got a complete story. You even get a little bit of Batman's history. You get to see Bruce Wayne as a kid dealing with whatever he's dealing with. Things like that are so, it's almost like a completely self-contained universe. Mm-hmm. Almost like how Batman the Animated Series is. It feels like it's separate from a lot of the other Batman stuff.
True. Yeah.
So
yeah. No, go ahead.
I think if they did give it to give Grant Morrison 24 issues, and then that becomes one big book. And if you want to read a Grant Morrison style Batman, you pick that one book up. You don't need to pick up anything else. It's pretty self-contained. I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, because what they do too, what drives me fucking insane is, so with the new Batman, with the Batman Rebirth, they did Joker War. And before Joker War started, they introduced Clown Hunter and Punchline. But the Joker War trade paperback just focuses on the 6 Joker War issues.
Yeah, it cuts out like maybe 2 issues that aren't exactly necessary or whatever.
Yeah, but the problem is you're supposed to know who the fuck Punchline is. And if you have no idea who the fuck Punchline is, you're going to be like, where's Harley Quinn? Why is Punchline banging the Joker? And who the fuck is she?
Yeah.
And it's like a huge pet peeve I have of mine is that, you know, when they do like the Court of Owls is like a weird situation where it works on its own, but it still sets up other stuff.
Yes.
But the weird thing with the New 52 did was they fucked up, like, in chronological order, you don't read volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and so on and so forth. You have to like jumble them up. It's like you do 7, then you do 2, and then 5. And I'm like, why? Like, why not just I guess the problem lies is that, hey, the Court of Owls run is done. Let's make that in trade paperback. Hurry the fuck up. We're gonna say it's volume 1. And then it's like, oh shit, volume 3 comes out, which is actually technically before Court of Owls, but it's written after. But we're going to call it volume 3 instead.
And if you looked in the contents where it shows what issue numbers are there, it would be like issues 1 through 6,
yep,
11, 14, and 9. It's like, what the hell?
And then you're reading, and then like, but you have to read, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 first, then go to issue 1, but then you got to jump to 20. And, especially when they do like the... Like
but you've also got to get the issue of Nightwing that fits in.
Yeah. And they did that real poorly with the freaking Death Metal, like the Dark Knight Death Metal, like the first art, or just called a Metal, there was 4 trade paperbacks that came out. It was like Resistance, Metal. I forget the other 2. I have them back there. But to read them, you had to read like issue 1 in the Metal version. Then you had to go to Resistance and read that. Then you had to go to Suicide Squad and read that. Then you had to jump. It's like, here's an idea. I get that's more money, and I harp on it. I think they're fucking horrible to read. But when you have a series that's that big and that detailed, just make it a fucking compendium or make it a goddamn omnibus.
Yeah, 100%. Give me everything I need in one place so that I can enjoy it, so I don't leave with more questions than I started with when I started reading.
Yeah, because if you read like the Dark Knight Metal and then read Resistance, you're going to be like, why is this happening when it's already over? And I hate when they do that, and it seems like such an easy task, and it just seems like they can never get it right. I don't understand why, and I'm hoping that they do, figure it out some way, but you don't have the link for this topic for some reason. I put the wrong one, but going on to what you said about the constant reboot is they have this DC Infinite Frontier 0 that's coming out, and literally it says the first page thing of this article says DC Universe enters its next phase this March with the release of the Infinite Frontier 0, a new 64-page one-shot from the most creative and innovative storytellers in comics that sets up the table for new tales, talent, and characters in 2021 and beyond. So the problem I have with this is that they just announced that Batman 106 coming out in March. You have the Future State out now. Then you want to say, hey, we're going to put this little teaser thing. Like, is this like, hey, this might work? Or like, I don't understand. I'm going to share you the link right now in the chat. There you go, just so you know what I'm looking at. But it's just one of those things where I'm just like, I don't understand who the fuck says let's reboot this when we just rebooted 3 years ago to do it again.
Yeah, it's something that we ask, in the comic shop industry all the time too, because it's like, how do we keep people interested? How do we keep telling people, it almost becomes just like a repeating series of origin stories over and over again. People want something else. And people don't know, again, once all of these books get collected into trades and put on a shelf, nobody knows how to organize them. Should we organize the reboots chronologically? Like, which reboot should we signal people to buy? Because all of them are still in print.
Yeah, I mean, and looking at the photo here, you obviously have the new Batman, who's the guy that has the full headset on, which I actually have that figure over there.
I mean, I like a lot of the designs.
Yeah, this Batman, which I didn't realize too. So this is Tim Fox, which I didn't know Lucius Fox had another son. So I thought it was Luke Fox the whole time, but it's not. It's this guy Tim Fox, and I think this must be pulling in Future State and the Rebirth together and see what it takes off. But honestly, I don't think it's really needed. I think the last smart thing that DC Comics did was when they did that Black Label, and it's like, okay, if you want to read the Black Label stuff, it's darker and it's different, and this is what it is. And they did a really good job with the White Knight stuff, as it says like Batman the White Knight, then it's Batman Curse the White Knight, which is part 2, and then it's like Batman the White Knight presents a character. So the book I was going to talk about today later, and no spoilers, is the Harley Quinn. Is, hey, this follows the aftermath of the Curse of the White Knight, and it's so easy to read, and you don't even have to read White Knight or the Curse of White Knight to understand what's going on, because this might be the only book I've read in a long time by DC where they're like, hey, this happened to Batman, this happened to Joker, Harley Quinn's on her own, what does she do? And you're like, cool, story, great. So you know what to read. And I just feel that they don't do this enough. I mean, fine, you want to consider like Rebirth Batman 1, but then they drop it. It's not even called Rebirth anymore. So if you pick up a Batman issue and you don't know what it is, it's just going to say Joker War. Okay, what is this? What is this a part of?
Yeah, what's stringing these together? I don't know.
And I feel like Marvel does the same shit. I know we're harping on DC because it's kind of all it was really in the news, but Marvel doesn't do any better. Let's be honest.
Absolutely not.
You kind of said it. You said it before. It's they're not smaller, but the lesser, the I guess I'll say the B team that does it so much easier. Skybound, Image, Dark Horse, Boom, Dynamite. They just like, hey, here it is.
Yeah, they're not. Maybe it's because Marvel and DC are struggling to keep these characters alive and relevant. There's with Image and these other things, they're not dedicated. I mean, obviously Spawn is still going. They're up at the like issue 500 or whatever the hell, but they're not struggling to keep Batman alive for 70 years.
Yeah.
They don't have that burden of keeping an interesting Batman story. I think if they did a legacy and started handing down the Batman mantle a little bit more in a permanent way, it could be interesting. But then they'd have to just stick to one continuity.
Well, they kind of did that with what's his face when they did the Batman Beyond. They kind of they kind of touched on that. I don't think they did a very good job with it by any means. Let me rephrase that. I think I lied. I was like reading something else at the same time. They did a good job with that. Transitioning from the animated series to Batman Beyond, but since then they really haven't done a good job handing that mantle over.
I thought it was going to happen. It's like you've got Damian. He's starting to develop and grow. He's obviously a super badass.
They changed his character design.
Well, now is it this? Well, I guess I'm looking at the
Infinite Frontier. He's the one that's right behind Flash. He looks like
he's very kung fu looking.
Yeah.
What's up with Diana up here? Who's got this Lion King up in the clouds thing in the corner?
Interesting. I haven't
Wonder Woman,
unless she's dead.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, is she? Is this all about recovering her from some other dimension?
Well, this is the new Wonder Woman back here, Namora. I think her name is. Which it's actually kind of. I'll give them credit. They did a good job on introducing her. Some people argue with me about it and say that I'm full of shit, but I actually think that they did a pretty good job introducing her character as like different. She's kind of like, how do I say it? I'm using like all the time, like we talked about before, but
it's hard to get rid of.
It 100%. It's similar to what they did with Damian Wayne, where she's so different than like there it is.
Personality.
Yeah, it's completely different, but it kind of works. And I think with Damian Wayne, I think that they probably could have passed it over to him. I think that the future Batman with Tim Fox is it's weird. They haven't really went too much detail into it and how it all came about. But it is what it is. I mean, it makes sense because obviously his dad designs all of Batman's shit, so it's kind of hey, I did this. Here you go.
no matter what, at the core of it, it's going to be the same. Here is Batman. Here's the Justice League. They're doing super heroics. Maybe one day we'll get to see them develop and really change and do things. But
yeah, the other thing too that I always get disappointed is when they tell the same story over and over and over again, but they just rename it. Dark Side War, Joker. It's like the same fucking idea.
Right, since going back to Jack Kirby, doing the Apocalypse War and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it kind of sucks. If you really think about it, I bet you every story has probably already been told a handful of times over and over again.
Yeah, I think there's some book about writing, and it's about mythology and things, and apparently there's only like 22 types of stories you can tell. So really, though, the only important thing is about how you tell the story. So I think it really comes down to style at this point. So maybe all they really can do is keep ushering new designs and updating things, and
I mean, you led into our next segment perfectly. Speaking of updated designs and whatnot, is Black Adam in the DC comics is starting to look more like The Rock. And you see this happening more and more in comics, just in general, especially in Marvel. Marvel is taking the cake on this. And this might be the first character that you kind of see do this. But if you want my opinion, Black Adams and Shazam kind of look the same anyway. Shazam, Black Adam, and Superman all had the same kind of structure to them. They literally were the same character, just with a different symbol and a different color suit. So this might be the first time you really see them starting to do this. But what are your thoughts on when the industry starts to change the design of the character based around Hollywood? Do you think it's a cop-out?
Yeah, I think it's they're hoping to get the association so that people make that connection and buy the books. The first time I ever saw it was with the X-Men. Once Bryan Singer's X-Men came out, they completely switched the comics and everybody had full black leather with only a little bit of yellow insignia.
Did they really?
Oh yeah.
In the comics?
They did, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it also it might have been a Grant Morrison run, but they wanted.
Well, that guy's out of his fucking mind.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, isn't he like a magician, like an actual ritualistic magician?
Is he really?
He practices some interesting.
Well, did you read Arkham Asylum, Serious House on Serious Earth? That book was beyond weird.
Bonkers.
Like, I would tell somebody go get stoned and read it, but you probably wouldn't be able to read it.
You're yeah. Good luck sleeping.
Yeah, it would be wild. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so that was the first time that I remember seeing it, was after the Bryan Singer X-Men. They got even, Wolverine is now walking around in this black leather suit instead of his blue and yellows and all that kind of stuff. And they went more for that tactical look. Ultimately, they wind up completely reversing it only a few years later. There was a whole issue where Cyclops goes into this whole diatribe where he's like, we want to look like superheroes again, so we're going to put on our yellow spandex, blah blah blah. I think it's a cop out. I think it's a momentary, let's grab that connection, let's get the readers, maybe who loves The Rock or who loves Chris Evans will pick this comic up just because the character looks a little bit more like Chris Evans or Chris Pratt now.
Chris Pratt's Star-Lord, yeah.
But they changed it a little bit in the comics to look like him too.
Yeah, I think luckily they stayed true to Batman and they kept him. Bruce Wayne looks the same.
Yeah, he's an institution. You really can't fuck with Bruce Wayne.
Same with Superman. They kept him. His look pretty solid.
They're like, we're gonna find the actor and tailor the actor more to.
Which I like that. I like that. And trust me, I thought that Hugh Jackman did a good job with Wolverine. Was it? Do I think it kind of backfired because people are expecting Wolverine to be this like 6 foot tall, huge, hunky guy when he's really like 5'2"? He's like my height.
Yeah.
So I'm actually 5'5", not 5'2", for the record. Any women listening to this. But anyway, so I think that was kind of a weird choice. Facially, I think they matched a little bit. But I think that was really bizarre to me. I do think though sometimes it does benefit the character. I thought Aquaman is a really cheesy looking character, and I think kind of going on the Jason Momoa look kind of benefits him.
I agree. I agree with that. Aquaman has been around for so long and really only had a number of updates. I think there was the time in the early 2000s where he was scraggly haired and bearded and he had a hook for a hand and shit like that.
Really?
Oh, yeah, it was actually pretty grim, badass Aquaman stuff.
I didn't know that.
But then it went back to the original, just, the green and orange. Aquaman needs... it's a cool character if you do Aquaman right,
I don't know much about Namor, but I think Marvel probably takes the cake on Namor being the better version of the two of them.
Yeah, Namor's badass. He's got the arrogance. He's got the sex appeal. I mean, he took Sue Richards from Mr. Fantastic, so he's a home wrecker. He's not afraid to come on land and take your land ladies back to Atlantis, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would like to see. Trust me, if the character design needs a rehaul, cool, go for it. Again, I'm for the Aquaman change. I think it's cool. I have the action figure somewhere around here. I do think that I don't like this necessarily like this suit. I think the suit's kind of a bit of a cop out.
Yeah, but, it's lame.
This to me screams Zack Snyder. This screams, what we were talking about before. It's like stylized. It's less cartoony. It tries to take itself seriously. It's a character.
It's lame. It's so boring to look at when you want to look at a comic and see cool designs. Like I'm loving a lot of the Infinite Frontier designs. They're fun. They're classic but updated. I don't know who the new Lobo is, but I love the
on the bottom left.
Yeah, they look pretty badass. I mean, make it colorful, make it fun. That's definitely something that the Marvel movies have no problem doing.
Yeah, even Red Hood's outfit here looks pretty cool with the short sleeve right next to Catwoman.
Yeah, it's got almost like a rogue Strider if you're going like an RPG look.
Yeah. He kind of looks like what was he? Red Arrow?
Yeah. Well, it was originally Speedy.
Is that what it was?
That was his original name. He got hooked on the horse.
That's awful.
And then he became Arsenal, I think.
That's what I was thinking of. Arsenal.
But then he changed his name again after Arsenal to something else.
Yeah, I mean this because the version here, this version of Aquaman looks a little similar to. It kind of looks like a hybrid of Jason Momoa and what's his face, Thor, Chris Evans.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing those are tattoos on his shoulders and things like that.
That's what I'm assuming as well. I have to say though,
simple.
Yeah, and sometimes they do really good casting calls. I thought Chris Evans as Thor was really well done. I think the look for that is almost identical. The Robert Downey Jr. look for Iron Man, I think it works. This is gonna be weird. It works for live action, but on paper it looks terrible.
Yeah, Marvel changes a lot of their characters to look like the actors, and they definitely made Iron Man look like Downey Jr. for a while.
Yeah, I didn't like that look.
He's so arrogant and smarmy that the character works so well, and the voice is right on. But they don't need to over detail the faces so much in comics. I miss when, I miss kind of the classic comic book jawline and things like that. Like if you read the
real hard.
Yeah, the 70s and 80s and things. Yep. It's not that everybody looks exactly the same, but it's almost like there's kind of a staple, similar to how manga looks. They're never going to try to make a manga character look like an actor.
Okay.
They're always going to have kind of the manga artist has their style. Their characters look like their characters. They're not going to try to make their character look like Robert Downey Jr. ever. Unless
it's like anime.
Yeah, exactly.
You physically can't make anime look like a person.
And if you do, it's probably going to look terrifying. It's probably going to look pretty scary. Even the Castlevania art they got that's less like traditional anime and almost more like closer to how the He-Man faces are very angular and built up.
I never thought about that.
You know, there's a lot more detail in the Castlevania art than traditional anime.
Yeah, I think Castlevania is if you're not, again, I'm not an anime guy, so I'm speaking this for like a non-anime standpoint. If you're not an anime person but want to just kind of watch a cartoon that's adult oriented and be like, hey, I'm not watching anime, I swear, but you kind of are, Castlevania is good.
Yeah, Castlevania is cool. Came out a few years ago. I think it was the Dante's Inferno.
Is that out?
It came out a few years ago, before around the same time they did the video game, I think.
Was that on Netflix?
I believe that's where I saw it.
I'll have to check that out.
I know that one was also good. Similar style to the Castlevania.
I know they did. There's a game, Dragon's Dogma, or Dragon's something or other. I think it's Dragon's Dogma. That was anime. That one didn't score as well as Castlevania. I think the Castlevania one is just a cool concept.
Yeah.
Did you watch it all or no?
Is it there only two?
I think is there two or is there three? The whatever the last hold on, Castle.
Yeah, my bad. I think I saw two of them.
There was actually there was 3 seasons, and the third season was really fucking awkward. Because
I haven't seen the third season. I've only seen 2.
You need to watch it and get back to me on it because it's
really awkward.
It's because you know how they introduced Dracula's son?
Yeah, Alucard.
Yeah.
Dracula backwards.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
there you go.
Alucard.
So they introduced his son in the second season, but then in the third season, he like inherits this like brother and sister that want to like be like him, and then the brother and sister start like fucking each other.
Against Game of Thrones on you all.
It's like, dude, I was like, what is going on? This is a cartoon. If my mother walks in my house right now, she'd be like, what are you watching? So that was the only thing I didn't like about that season. But it is a good show, and they do a really good job with it. And the video games, some of them are really good. I know they did Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, which was supposed to be a Castlevania-like game. I think it's in the same universe, but I don't think it scored very well. But I'll agree, Castlevania is and if you can get the freaking collection now, you get all the games on Xbox or PlayStation 3.
Yeah, go back to the SNES versions.
Dude, I just bought that Sega Genesis the other day.
Oh, I saw that. I was drooling. I was so jealous.
Dude, I was looking for that Hyperstone Heist Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. It's like the knockoff of Turtles in Time. It's so long. It's like you look on eBay, it's like $200. This guy's like, I'll give you it for $80. So it doesn't have the manual. I was like, sold. Give me that right now.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you know what? I'm going to start collecting. If I didn't collect enough comic books and action figures, now I'm going to start collecting fucking Sega games, but they have to be in the box.
Dangerous.
It is. But you know what the cool thing is about, I'm going to talk to everybody about this too. The cool thing about being a comic book collector, it's pretty fucking cheap.
Yeah. I mean, compared to people who collect, cars or guns or, those are giant price tags. I had a friend in Washington State who collected a lot of those Dynamic Forces or Diamond exclusive statues. And
that's cool.
Every Wednesday, at least 2 or 3 new ones are coming out, and he was a completist. The dude was buying all of them. Mm-hmm. He had a garage, just wall to wall, these sculptures, but he's dropping $500 a week on sculptures.
Yeah, I mean, and every now and then you never know. That's why even with modern day video games, I was saying, I'm just going to buy everything physical because you never know what's going to be worth something one day. You don't. I remember I was talking to my buddy the other day. I remember the day my mom came up to me. We were moving. And was like, do you still want these Sega games? Do you still want these Super Nintendo games? You have the PlayStation 1 at the time, whatever the hell it was, the 64. Are you ever going to play these again? And I was like, nope, get rid of them. And now here I am, like, anyone going to Sega available? It's like, it sucks. So that's why everything I buy now is either physical, and just like with comic books, I buy the comic book series in, actual comic book form, and then I buy the trade paperback because I have 2 copies of Moon Knight: The Bottom, which one of them I actually got for free because it was fraud. So Amazon somehow found me a copy and I got it for free. And the other one I bought in a series. But needless to say, they combined total for those probably cost me $75. And if you try to find it online right now, it sells for like $200. So you never know what's going to be worth something one day.
Definitely not.
Last thing on the agenda here from the Planet Bugle is none other than, is Comic-Con going to be done on a cruise ship this year?
This is the premise for a horror movie, in my opinion. This
is an interesting one. And this comes from Games Radar. So Image Comics and Skybound Entertainment, which this weirds me out because Image used to put out Walking Dead, but then Skybound now puts out Walking Dead. And I don't think it's under Image anymore because I thought they had a falling out, but I guess this says otherwise.
I'm not clear on that entirely. I know that Skybound is Kirkman's imprint, and I don't know if that imprint is under the umbrella of Image altogether.
Okay. Is that how that works? It's weird. I couldn't figure it out. I was so confused.
I don't know if you remember in the 90s, and I think I don't know if they do it anymore, but DC had the Vertigo label.
Don't they still have it?
I'm not sure. I
think they still have it.
I haven't been reading that stuff as much. Like even what the black label press or whatever it was.
It's great. I like the black label.
If you want to read weird comics or whatever it is, like the Sandman or Transmetropolitan, you go to Vertigo. Mm-hmm. If you want to read Robert Kirkman, you look for the Skybound label. I think is kind of how it works.
I heard Sandman is really good.
It's really good.
I bought volume 1 because everyone's talking about this one episode called 24 Hours.
Yeah.
The diner one.
Yes.
Apparently it's like petrifying.
It's twisted.
Yeah.
It's twisted. It's at the end of volume 1. The beginning of volume 1 is a little bit tough.
Okay.
So the artist who's in volume 1, do you remember the comic book The Max?
Yeah. I have those comics.
Yeah, they're great. They're weird. It's Sam Keith is the artist who did the Max.
Okay.
Sam Keith is also the artist who did the beginning of the art with Neil Gaiman for Sandman. So the beginning Sandman art looks a lot like the Max. I don't think that they got along too well, Neil and Sam. So the end of the book looks completely different.
Does it really?
Yeah, and then as the Sandman goes on, there's a lot of different artists picking it up because I don't know. They just kept moving around and switching artists.
It has a very Fable vibe to me.
Yeah, it's supposed to, it's kind of its own mythology. He's created like Dream and Destiny and Delirium, Death. They're all mythological beings that kind of universal maintenance type characters.
Yeah, I'm super excited to read it because it's been something that a lot of people are like, you need to read it.
Nice.
So I did pick it up again after I read an article about they were talking about the Hour 24. I think they're calling it 24-hour diner on the show. They were talking about how scary it is, and I remember we talked about this last week, and I was like, I don't find books scary because I don't have that type of like imagination to really put it into visions in my head. But so I was like, before I watch this show, I want to read the book. Just like Invincible, I have it back there, and before I watch the Invincible show from Amazon, I want to finish at least the first volume, and because I watched the little Amazon clip and it's literally the exact same scene, but unfortunately, I finally dived into Moon Knight, and that character, I never really read him. I always wanted to get into him, and I gotta say, someone ripping off fucking Batman is that character in every fucking way possible. Exact same, different origin, obviously, and he's completely different, based on like killing everybody, skinning people alive.
Yeah, he's a little unhinged. He's kind of on the verge of, is this dude totally batshit crazy, or is he even really seeing the shit that he's seeing? Sometimes you never really know.
Yeah, I know they say
he's Batman. It's the same thing with Wade Wilson and Slade Wilson.
Oh, it's the same character.
Deathstroke and Deadpool.
Yeah.
The guys that Marvel and DC have been riffing off of each other back and forth forever.
Yeah, I think we did this before, and I think Namor was before Aquaman, and I think when we did the list, he was the only Marvel character that was like an original, and then DC was like, oh wait, hold on. I think everybody else was literally DC, and then Marvel was like, yeah, DC. 2 years later, Marvel was like, hey, we can do that too. But a little off topic there. But anyway, getting back to this, it says pretty much calling all comic book lovers. It's been a wild year to say the least, and we've been spending a lot of time thinking about ways to bring Comic-Con back to the community. And what other way then the safest solution is a good old vacation on a cruise ship. There is nothing safe about that.
We're going to be watching a Fire Festival style documentary about this Comic-Con on a cruise ship.
So it seems like it's just Image and Skybound, and it seems like they're looking to do it in 2022 or 2023. So they got some time. Would I do this if the pandemic was cleared up? 100%. I would just do it just to see what the fuck it was and be like, hey, cruise ship, comic books, cool. Do I think, obviously, you're missing out on the DC stuff, so, it would be interesting to see how they pulled this together. Do I think this is how you bring Comic-Con back? No. Honestly, I don't think you bring Comic-Con back until you can do people in a fucking arena or like a center type thing. Because you could do Comic-Con virtual all day long, and they tried to do it last year, and it was dumb. It just didn't work.
Some of the people in the small press scene are also doing virtual book fairs or virtual, zine conventions and selling things, but it's really tough. That's how a lot of the creators make money, is at conventions like that. But I don't think, first of all, what's the price ticket going to be just to get on the cruise ship? I think it makes it exclusive, and a lot of people won't be able to afford that. Number two, what about the Marvel and DC fans? Are there enough Skybound Image fans that are going to want to fill up this cruise ship?
I don't think so, unless they push hard and they'd say, hey, it's the Walking Dead cruise.
Right. You're going to have to make some type of event out of that.
Which,
Second
honestly,
of all, it doesn't really help the comic scene on dry land at all,
No, and honestly, I don't think The Walking Dead is going to be that relevant much.
It's losing steam big time.
I know that they're, after we talked about it last week, they're reprinting issues 1 through 6 of The Walking Dead Deluxe, which is the colored version of the book. So I guess that's a second print would technically be done. But yeah, I mean, the fact that they're reprinting that series in color when the series ended last year, something's up.
Yeah, they want to keep making money off the book.
The only other thing I thought of besides that was maybe, because again, we talked about this before, Image used to be the one that actually was Image, Walking Dead Image. Skybound was like just the publisher, I guess you could say. Or am I right? Am I saying that right? Image was a publisher or distributor?
It's confusing. Maybe distributor, publisher.
So what I'm thinking might have happened then was Image has the rights to the black and white stuff, and maybe Skybound was like, fuck, how can we get money on this? Hey, you know what? We're going to remake it again, but we're going to make it in color.
Right.
And we're going to make all the money on it.
Yeah, who the hell knows?
Because they're doing, because Kirkman hasn't really even done anything new. I mean, he's doing the Invincible stuff.
He's got the fire. It's not Firestarter. It's something.
It is. I think it is Firestarter.
Fire. I don't know. Firepower.
It's just, isn't it like a superhero based idea?
Yeah. I like the artwork a lot. Firepower. It's a great artist, Chris Samney. He did a great Black Widow series for Marvel. It looks like it's kind of a kung fu, almost like a Last Airbender kind of genre. Okay. Oh wow, yeah, you're right. Literally, the first cover screamed Last Airbender. It even looks I just got to that one. He's even got like the orange gi monk shaved head. He looks like a Shaolin monk.
The artwork is really good though. I'll give you that. But the thing is with this type of artwork, I always sometimes I'm like, when I look at this type of artwork, I'm like, is this too computerized?
Do you have a view of issue 2, because the guy's definitely doing a Hadouken on the cover?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the exact same move. It's like a hybrid of freaking Ryu and
Aang.
Yeah. So, hey, you know what? If you can get it to work, great. I think it's interesting that they're putting Invincible as a cartoon. Good, because the book is obviously violent as fuck. I also heard they're trying to make it into a live action show, which not really too sure how I feel about that. But just like that, not really too sure how we feel about this cruise. If you're a Skybound fan and a Image fan, look out for that cruise that might be coming in 2022, 2023. Otherwise, you can just sit back, be patient, and like the rest of us, wait for Comic-Con to actually come back to the real fucking world. But before we get into our feature topic of the week, let me tell you a little bit about what you could find on the shelves February 3rd at your local comic shops. So from Marvel, I'm not going to say the House of Ideas because that's Matt's thing. You have Venom 33, The Immortal Hulk 43, Avengers 42, Star Wars 11, Hellions 9, X Factor 7, Star Wars The High Republic number 2, Strange Academy 8, Runaways 33, King of Black Venom vs. Carnage 2, King of Black Martyrs 1, King of Black Knight 1, King of Black Return of the Valkyries 2, Legend of Shang-Chi 1, Warhammer 40K, Magnus Caligar 4, Avengers Mech Strike 1. That Legend of Shang-Chi is totally being put out right now because of that fucking movie or TV show that or movie that they're trying to do. So if you're into that, go check that out. From IDW, you have Star Wars The High Republic Adventures number 1, CSRs 3, Star Wars Adventures 3, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Genikai 2 number 4, Snake Eyes Dead Game number 4, Transformers Beast Wars 1, Kanto 2, Hollow Men 5. That was one thing, by the way. Chained to the Grave number 1, Marvel Action Origins number 1, which is a Spider-Man book. Marvel Actions Chillers number 4, which looks like it's Doctor Strange, and Comic Book History of Animation number 3. This is interesting. Why is IDW putting out Star Wars material when it's a Marvel property?
Yeah, and I don't know.
That's an odd one.
Is it, unless it's like an all ages or like a little kids version or something, like sometimes IDW will do.
They do that with that action comic bullshit. Or what's it called? Not action comic. It's what do they call it? Marvel Action. I was close. Yeah, that's a weird one. But moving on to DC, you have the whole entire Future State shit, which is all they're pretty much coming out. So you have Future State The Next Batman 3, Future State Wonder Woman 2, Future State Swamp Thing 2, Future State Harley Quinn 2, Future State Superman of Metropolis 2, Future State The Flash 2, and then you have Hellblazer Rise and Fall number 3, which was actually supposed to come out last month. Don't know why they pushed it back. You also have Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey number 4, Man Bat number 1, and The Dreaming Waking Hours number 7. Man Bat, The Dreaming, Harley Quinn, and Hellblazer are all a part of the Black Label. I don't know why they're making a Man Bat book, but sure, we'll go with it. From Image, you have Deep Beyond number 1, Inkbot 6, Tartarus 9, Graphic Fantasies 1, that sounds interesting, and Graphic Fantasies 2. From Dynamite, seriously. From Dynamite, you have none other than Vengeance of Vampirella 14, Songiversal 1? Word, whatever that is. Vampirella Valentine's Day Special 2021, and Dynamite Our Bloody Valentine. They must only produce the same freaking two things. But last but not least, from Boom, we have Buffy the Vampire Slayer 22, Luna 1, and Spectre Inspectors 1. Cool. Yeah, I guess also it's like, what do you make of it when a comic book publisher literally only publishes the same character in 30 different forms? Like, you have 4 versions of Vampirella all right here, besides Red Sonja. And I guess they're trying to make a Sonja verse. Is that what they're trying to do? But yeah, that's a strange one.
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. I mean, if Dynamite has kept it going this long on Red Sonja and Vampirella and the occasional like the Shadow book or something like that.
I forgot about him. Wow, that's an old one.
Yeah, they have a lot of rights to old comics and stuff like that.
Didn't they make him into a? Oh, I'm thinking of The Spirit. The Spirit was the one that they made into that movie.
Yeah, The Spirit was a really great comic. The movie
Black and
was
white,
actually
right?
Yeah, the movie was actually directed by Frank Miller from Sin City and Dark Knight Returns and all that.
Yes, Sin City is way better on paper than it is on film.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's even like I like the Christian Bale Batman, but his voice sometimes is just a little bit too much.
Yeah,
and it's the same thing with Sin City. It's so overacted and so intense all the time. Like there's never, oh, I'm going to catch my breath. Here's a chill moment where somebody's just
Did you read Sin City?
Yeah.
Do you remember it? Do you remember much about it? All right, so fuck this. I'm changing the feature comic. We're talking about the Sin City series real fast. Now you guys should totally read it instead of watch it. By Frank Miller, right? Quote me if I'm wrong.
Frank Miller, 100%. He did the artwork and the writing.
He drew that too?
He drew that shit too.
So I have them all back there somewhere behind the fucking Wonder Woman shit. But when I first got into comics, I picked up the Sin City series and I picked up V for Vendetta. Those were my first two, and A History of Violence. Those were my first three things. Wow. So I didn't even get into this whole Batman bullshit. Literally, I started collecting Batman stuff 5 years ago when I was 27. Embarrassing. Whatever. I got there and now here I am. But Sin City to me is something that'll always mean something because just how well it's done and how each book is a story.
Yeah.
It's in the same universe, but this is this. And I don't think they ever cross really over, do they?
No. There was art where, Frank Miller would draw Batman or somebody and maybe Marv would be in the artwork, but it was never like the comic books really mixed with anything. But no, just from pure artistry, they're incredible, absolutely incredible books.
Would you say that and the thing too, which blows my mind is for a book series that did something so well where, it's black and white. Occasionally you have a little color red. Occasionally you'll get like yellow in there. You don't see that. Like nobody's really replicated that except maybe The Spirit. I don't know. I didn't read the book. I know the movie.
So the Spirit comic books are a lot older. They're by Will Eisner.
Okay.
And it's a great detective series and it has great style. And it's Will Eisner was one of the first people to ever do a book on here's how to tell comic book stories. But the film doesn't reflect the comic to me at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it doesn't really reflect the comic to me at all. The Sin City film is pretty close to the comic, but it doesn't have, it's not, the actors couldn't live up to the way it lives in your head when you're reading it, Yeah,
and I think the thing about Sin City that was I didn't realize this. I'm just looking at the trade paperback collection that I have. So A Dame to Kill For is actually the first trade paperback, but it wasn't the first movie.
No, the first movie was
Yellow Bastard. Yes,
Yellow Bastard combined with The Big Fat Kill.
Yep. Okay.
And then there's sometimes a trade there. The trade paperback that I have is called A Hard Goodbye.
Dude, I was just looking at that. I was like, what is this? I've never seen this.
That's the one where Marv kills Kevin, the cannibal. That's The Hard Goodbye.
Wait, it is?
Yeah, that's considered The Hard Goodbye. A Dame to Kill For is a story with Clive Owen's character.
Yeah.
Before he gets his plastic surgery to look like Clive Owen.
Because what was the second Sin City based on?
A Dame to Kill For.
Okay.
So the second movie was based on A Dame to Kill For, but A Dame to Kill For takes place before everything because, in A Hard Goodbye, Marv died in the electric.
Does he?
Well, assumably. I mean, maybe they just shock him for 5 hours. I don't know.
Wait, I thought Marv shows up again.
He shows up in A Dame to Kill For because A Dame to Kill For chronologically takes place before all of that stuff. I think that's part of what Frank Miller wanted to do. Regardless of which book you pick up, it's a complete story. And yeah, he just somebody might get killed, somebody might keep going. Who knows?
So there's 7. There's one. Was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Yeah. So there is 7 trade paperbacks, and yeah, I didn't realize that. I do have The Hard Goodbye, because the Kevin character. The Hard Goodbye was almost identical. Like it was so fucking close.
Yeah, it really was.
Book. The only thing, if I had one gripe about, and now a lot of people didn't like, I don't think the first Sin City movie scored really well. which I don't understand why. Because I thought it was okay. I lied. It scored a 77. I think the second one sucked.
Yeah, the second one didn't do well, but I also think Robert Rodriguez and Frank Miller were having political problems in Hollywood and stuff like that.
Well, didn't they create Bruce Willis's character in the movies?
No, he's the cop in That Yellow Bastard.
Okay. Didn't they twist one of the stories in the movie, or did they stick with it pretty close?
So there's Josh Hartnett, who's an assassin that kind of shows up. They make a little bit more out of that than they do in the comics.
Because I still think that I think the Hard Goodbye one with Marv is the best run.
Oh hell yeah!
I do wish
fucking rules, and yeah, that they nailed that shit.
The only thing I wish they did better in the book or the show in the movie. I'm sorry. I wish they did the movie more like, hey, here's this story, then here's this story. Like, just okay, you want to go with that route because it's kind of what they did anyway. But they were kind of throwing it together. If I remember it right, they didn't like tell like this is the one story. Here's the next story. Here's the next story. It was like
intertwined a little bit, almost like Pulp Fiction kind of.
Yes.
Mixed in, yeah.
Yeah, but and the Yellow Bastard story I thought was kind of a little too out there for me. I thought it was really good, but I think what threw me for a loop was that I feel like this book tried to be as close to real life as it could be, but still have that one thing. It's like, it's still fake as fuck. And
like the ninja rollerblading on the rooftops in the snow and ice.
Yeah, I was like, all right, time out. And then when they introduced the Yellow Bastard, I was like, okay, this is where it went a little too comic booky.
You know, it's almost like an Alfred Hitchcock movie. It takes place in the realm of reality. All those things could happen, but they're a little bit tweaked to the level of almost supernatural or paranormal.
Because Kevin's character was almost like he was a cannibal.
He was a cannibal, and some type of supreme level martial artist, Omega level.
Oh yeah,
his power level is definitely like 10,000.
Yeah, because he gives Marv a good.
Yeah, he beat Marv the first time. If Marv wasn't strong enough to rip his way out of a prison, Because then Dwight is super cool. I mean, it just has great characters. They're super simple. They're just bruisers or gunfighters or whatever. It's nothing fantastic.
And the girl that Marv's obsessed with, what does he call her? Blondie?
Goldie. Yeah.
And she has the twin sister, I think.
Yeah, Goldie and Misty, just prostitute twins.
Yeah, that was and I think I know Brittany Murphy played one of them in the book. I don't remember, or the movie. I don't know if they made I don't know who played the other version. Maybe it was the same character. But yeah, it's a great book. I recommend even, and the thing is too that's cool is if you only read the first one, The Hard Goodbye, you could literally have a conversation with everybody because it's the only one that people really know.
Yeah, and that's as we were talking before, what would make getting into a comic less confusing? Somehow Frank Miller did it with Sin City because there's 7 books. It doesn't matter where you pick one up. You're gonna be able to get a full story out of it, enjoy it, and it'll probably lead you in the direction of the next book anyway.
And I mean, yeah, the only other book I could think that he really did well with that was The Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, I mean, The Dark Knight Returns was world-changing for comics.
Which is weird because if you don't get me wrong, it's a really good book. It's not the best Batman book. I'm care what anyone says. It's not the best Batman story.
It's not the best Batman story, but in the 80s they really reinvented Batman in a huge way.
Denny O'Neil.
Batman, what's that?
Dennis O'Neil did it.
They made Batman super dark.
Yep.
Yeah, Denny O'Neil and all the stuff that he did with Green Arrow too. Where they're like, okay, we're
Green Arrow.
We're going to read the news, and then we're going to take what we read in the news, like Law and Order, and we're going to feed it into the comic books. And, they had Batman doing real stuff. He's not going after the Joker as much as he's going after drugs or, creeps on the street and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know. If you watch I don't have this subscription where it's a fucking ripoff, the DC Universe Online, but if anyone still has it, there's a series on there. It's got something with Dark Knight. It's with Dennis O'Neil. They do an interview with him, and he talks about how he went to DC. He was like, hey, I have this idea to rebrand Batman. And like the head honcho of DC was like, yeah, go talk to those guys down in like the F wing. And he was like, all right. He like went down. And he was like, hey, we should make Batman dark and stop this bubble, like happy go
biff, bam, pow shit.
Yeah. And I guess people were like, fucking let's try it. And they put it out. And then he had said like, 2 months later, the head honcho of DC was like, so can you like come with me and let's like discuss this? And then that's pretty much how Batman, evolved to what he is today. And, you still, the thing is that you still see resemblance to that old Batman sometimes in like the comic attire, but the personality, if you know Batman, you know him as a, this self-pity, billionaire essentially that is still wants to clear up Gotham because of his parents' death. You don't think of him as this like, hey, I'm here to save the day, Jim. Like, let's go fucking.
No, he's got like his tortured aspect to him.
Yeah.
He's not like, let me put down my nice hot tea and crumpets and go fight crime.
Yeah. So
in my helicopter.
Or his freaking it was like a Thunderbird. The Thunderbird convertible that he used to have.
I mean, the Tim Burton Batman movies have their problems, but I love them.
100%.
They wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the Denny O'Neil Batman turn,
And those Batman movies, again, I was one when Batman came out. You think about it, that was people looked at that and you could easily be like, damn, what did Tim Burton do? And then people were like, it just blew up.
Hell yeah.
And I'm a firm believer. I still think Batman Returns is the superior of Batman to Batman Returns. I still like Batman Returns better. A lot of people will argue that Batman is better, but I guess Batman Returns was like the first real Batman movie that I ever like really, really watched, and I watched it every Christmas now. So
yeah, I mean it's got Pee Wee Herman in it. So
does it really? Yeah,
he's Oswald Cobblepot's dad.
No way.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
Dude, I had no idea. I mean, don't get me wrong. Jack Nicholson does a great job as the Joker in the first one, but he's no he's no Heath Ledger, and I know people might fight me on that one, but Heath Ledger brought. And I had this conversation with somebody last night. You have the three Jokers. You have the criminal, the comedian, and the clown. Heath Ledger's Joker is the criminal. I would have to say that if anything, Nicholson's character was probably the clown, and then I don't really think they did a comedian yet. In my opinion,
Joaquin Phoenix was kind of the comedian.
Oh, there you go. Okay, yeah,
completely miserably failed and horrible.
Yeah, and that whole sort of, if no one's read the Batman 3 Joker story, read it. Get back to that one. It kind of explains a lot. But just remember that you do have to remember the three characters. And I actually, believe it or not, need to reread it because I kind of forget how it ends. I know how it ends, but I forget which one of them explains it. But check it out. It's a good story. But anyway, that pretty much does it for us today. Once again, this is Why Am I Nervous? Since Alphabetical. Wrong fucking show. Presents Wud Up Comics. You can follow us on Instagram, Why Am I Nerd Official, Facebook.com/Why Am I Nerd. Listen to new issues every Tuesday on YouTube and your favorite podcast service. But before we go, Kyle, did you come up with a shenanigans as a replacement for Matt?
I did kind of come up with a shenanigans. It's a little bit silly. Since we didn't talk about Matteo Scalera and the White Knight Harley Quinn comic.
Yep.
The shenanigans is that Matteo Scalera just draws too good. It just shouldn't be allowed. Why is he draw so good? I don't know if anybody's read Black Science by Rick.
He did that?
He is the artist on Black Science with Rick Remender, and it's just off the wall, bonkers, so good. He's an Italian artist. He can color, he can paint, he can sculpt, and he just does the best comics. Shenanigans.
It's interesting. Now that you say that, the artwork is almost the fucking same.
Yeah, you can see where it matches. The Black Science is crazy though. Like it's bonkers.
Is that still going on or is it over?
I'm not sure. I'm reading it in trade, so I always find out a little bit later on. But I'm going to pick up that book just because Scalera's doing the art on it.
The Harley Quinn,
White Knight, Harley Quinn.
Yeah. It's good. I mean, just it's cool. It takes her characters as it totally turns upside down. It's a
whole alternate universe now.
Yeah, and they did that really, really. Even with another Batman with the Batman and Catwoman story in the Black Label. If anyone ever picks that up, that after the second issue, it's kind of like, okay, it's story moves. It's a quick one. It should be only probably 3 issues. I don't know how many they're exactly doing, but I'm really big on this new 3-issue Black Label shit that DC is doing. Between 3 and 6 issues, I think it's a perfect amount. It's a whole different conversation that we can have another day. So, but Kyle, tell everybody, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Electric Heart Comics or on the internet, electricheartcomics.com.
Awesome, my friend. Well, thank you very much for fucking coming, filling in, hanging out with me. This was probably the longest issue I've ever done, and it was awesome. And I had a great fucking time, and I love having you on here. I need to have you on here more often.
Whenever you want, hit me up. I'm gonna go read Sin City for real because I can't stop thinking about it right now.
There you go, and hopefully you get a cell phone back soon because I'm tired of talking to you through fucking Instagram.
Hey, I've got some work coming in right now, so once the snow clears, I'll go over to Verizon. Take care of it.
Sounds good, man. Well, I'm the nerd with the mouth. I'm Cameron James. Kyle Clean. Until next time, we're out.
Great seeing you, man.
You too, man. Dude, that was awesome.